Hey guys, it's Sarah from She's Crafty and She Knows It, and I am here to show you how to do shadowing and highlights and all kinds of little fun accents for your hand lettering and calligraphy. So here's a bunch of stuff I've done in the last couple of weeks as I've kind of been learning more about hand lettering and calligraphy, and so you can see some of the little fun details like on this one, which this is all done with the watercolor blending, and then I did little accents with a white gel pen, and then there's shadowing you can see. So let's get started. So here are some words I wrote out and did during the watercolor blending tutorial, and so I thought we would work with these and do some shadowing, some highlights and accents and all that on these. So I like to, for the shadowing, use this N75. I believe it came from the Grayscale package of markers, and so like every other video, I will link all of these supplies in the description of this video. That way you'll be able to find them. So I just take this gray marker and I just go along and put shadows next to the letters. Now if you've never done this before, that sounds overwhelming to you, or you're like, what the heck is she even talking about? It's okay, no worries. So for the shadowing, you can see the shadow falls on the right side of the letters. And so what we're going to do on here is we're going to do, let me point to it, we're going to go along the right side of the letter, and then we're going to go on the right side of the other curve. So you're never going to be on the left side. So what that means is when you're coming down here on the right side, you're not going to keep going around the loop, because now you're going to be on the left side if you did that. So if you were to follow here and go all the way around, you would end up on the top of it. So I know it's kind of complicated to think about, but what I try to picture, if you can imagine that there's a ball of light right here up in the top left corner, and that's like the sun. And so everything on the opposite side of the letter is going to be in shadows. So you're doing it the same way that you would do shadows. If you're used to art and drawing shadows, you're doing it similarly. So when you get to the bottom, you kind of curve, and then you go up inside the curve. And really, you can't mess this up. If you want to try it, do it different and do shadowing on the left side. It's more than it needs to be consistent. So I don't really go around the whole letter with the gray. If you were to do shadowing on the left side, you can totally do that. I don't want you to think that shadowing has to be on the right. You can do, the idea is that there's basically a light source somewhere and you're staying consistent. So if you were to do shadowing on the left side, it would mean the light source is over here on the right and all the shadowing would be on the other side. I hope that makes sense. I know I probably made that sound super confusing. It's not. The idea is just to be consistent. So for mine, I pretty much always just go on the right side of the letter. So here, instead of going all the way up the circle, because then that'd be on the left side of that little section, I switch. So right side of this, I switch, and now I go up the right side of this part. I go inside the loop and then outside the top. At first it took me a lot of thinking because I really want it to be consistent, and I realized that when I messed up and accidentally went like all the way around the circle, which I've done plenty of times, I realized that it makes the dimensions look off. It doesn't look, instead of it all of a sudden looking, oh, those letters almost look 3D, it's like, well, something's not right. Like you just realize something's not right. So I've been really trying hard to be more consistent with it. So there's kind of the idea. So it kind of gives a little bit of a 3D effect. And then what I do is I have these jelly roll pens. There's different sizes. This is the 10 and the 5. And you kind of go over it and do highlights. And so there's a billion ways you can do highlights. You can even do designs. You can do designs like this. I did like little stars and dots. You don't have to do highlights. I like to sometimes just do highlights where you do like, and you put a dot. And so you're doing this on the opposite side of the shadow. So if your shadowing is on the right side of the letter, I do the highlight on the left. So once again, it's kind of like there's a light source, and if there's a light source over here, it's going to hit the left side of the letter, shadow on the right side. So this is what's kind of adding dimension. So sometimes the pen really soaks in, the white really soaks into the colors, and you have to go back and do a couple different layers. So there's so many ways to this. There's no right or wrong way. I just kind of want to give you examples. You can see on this one over here, I didn't even do gray shadowing. I just did a little light outline with the black, this black pen in the same spots the shadowing would be. And so like on this one, which if y'all watch, this is done with the watercolor blending. Super fun. And I did the gray outline just like I did on the Joy, but then I went back and I did black accents where the gray outline is. It really makes it sharp. So if you want to be more subtle, to me this is a very just classic watercolor. It's real light. Nothing's like bold and intense about it. If you want to be more bold, you can add the black to it like that. I did the highlights on there. So let's play with this high. Now you can do a darker gray for the shadowing. I did on this one a darker gray. Totally fine. You want to be better at shadowing before. I did this one a little bit early on and it's not perfect. When I look at it, there's spots that aren't perfect and the dark gray just shows up a lot. And especially if you're using a really light color, it can really mess it up. So like with this one, I did the light gray because some of these light blue colors could just really get messed up if you accidentally went over it with the dark gray when you're shadowing. So we're going to do the light gray, which is this N75. Oh, and we're going to go on the right side again. If it's like this, where it's not really a right or a left, I go on the bottom. So if you're watching me and you're like, wait, that's not a right or a left, I kind of go underneath. So on this one, let's do the black like we did up here in this new month, same lockdown. So all I'm going to do is go in between. So just follow, and in between wherever you did the gray and the blue, now you're just putting black. Just like that. So for the accents, this little highlight is probably not going to show up great on the light blue. You can do dots, you can do little stars like I did over here. You can do accents, you really can do anything. And remember I said with these black, this is a set of 3. I don't have the one, there's one that's 01, I'm pretty sure. There's one 03, 05. I don't have the 01 with me right here, but they're the drawing pins. And these are great just for little accents. They're super fine. They're way finer than like the dual brush pin tip is like this. And these are super duper. Let me show you. I mean, teeny tiny. So I use these for my accents like I was doing the black on here. But you can still, even if you did the black, you can do little asterisks. Okay, and then we have the chill. The one thing I want to tell you about using the shadowing marker for pinks and reds is that I've noticed that the gray picks up a lot of the pink and reds, just like so many other things. Even when you're washing laundry, the red is always more likely to bleed. And so I've noticed that. So I have somewhere a piece of cardstock that I've been using. So what I do is when I'm doing shadowing with the pink is I'll do a section. So do the right side. Before I go on to something else, I kind of write it on here to make sure it's not pulling any pink with it, because you don't want all of a sudden the shadow to have pink in it. So kind of do it so you can tell there's pink in it. So trust me, I have messed up plenty of things by letting it pick up pink and not checking. So even some of this purple might pull it, so just be safe. And definitely do the shadowing after this has already had a chance to dry, because you'll definitely pull colors out if it's wet. And then your shadowing will be all different colors and it'll look crazy. So on here, I'm going to do little like diamonds. Sometimes the gel pens don't really want to get started and you have to kind of mess with them. These accents do not have to be perfect. Just doing little diamonds. And like I said, sometimes on these colors, especially the pinks and the purples, really a lot of the dark colors, the white gel pen kind of fades into on the first run through, and I'll go back and add more layers of the white gel pen to kind of make it a little bit more white, make it pop a little bit. Okay, I'm just going to do a little bit more of the highlighting that I do the most often. So on this one, since the shadowing is on the right side like I did before, I'm going to put highlights or accents on the left side of the letters. Okay, so that's it. You get the idea. That's the basic idea of how to do shadowing and highlights, as well as various accents on your hand lettering. And just remember that you can come up with your own style. You can see all the different ways that I did it in this video. Sometimes I just shadow with gray, sometimes I add highlights with the white gel pen, and sometimes I outline part or all of the letters with a thin black pen. And don't forget that I'm going to link all of the supplies I use in the description below this video so that you can find all the supplies that you need. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up and make sure you subscribe for more videos. Bye guys!